boys, girls, and everyone else, there is a topic that I've alluded to in a few of my other videos that I wanted to go and talk about today, and that is Undying Rage on Barbarians. It is a very, very hot topic, and a lot of people feel very passionate on both sides. Now, I myself have not been a Barbarian in a very long time, and I recently did a PvP video for... Why can't you see my monitor? I just realized you can see my monitor. What the heck? Anyway... That was weird. Why was my monitor showing on my camera? Anyways, so I think that Undying Rage is a mechanic that we'll talk about it. I don't think it's as broken as people think it is, but I also don't think it's working completely as intended as it probably should. So let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm not going to intentionally sit on the fence on this one. That would kind of hurt my butt, but I do want to talk about this, so let's get straight to it. So the topic I'm talking about is Undying Rage is dumb and objective-based PvP. Now, obviously, almost all PvP is objective, so there's that. So BG specifically, remember when all the immunities were made so that idols wouldn't be stalled? Necro, Wraith Form, Wizard, Ice Block, Crusader, Conjuration, BK, Sanguinate / Bats. It is long overdue for Undying Rage to get the same treatment. If you are in Undying Rage, you can't stall the idol, period. Either all skills do or all skills don't. It is especially bad when there's more barbs on one side or none at all on the other, where we're at the point where it's just, I'm gonna go kamikaze on the idol and we win. Now, this is my opinion. But I do want to kind of go through all of the not all the comments, but there's a lot. I do want to go through some of them and just sort of skim them, but I want to give you my thoughts on it first. So I come from a background of a lot of different PvP games where I've been very, very competitive, especially FPS games. Like Halo 3 was big for me. That was like we played competitively in Halo 3, my friends and I. So. But I've also played like World of Warcraft PvP, where there is like sort of that rock, paper, scissors mechanic where you can remove things and like debuff, remove buffs. So that's where I would lean into this is a position where not all, but some classes have the ability of removing debuffs. And it's also, and then almost everything should be a buff. You know, Undying Rage should be removable if it's not already. I think it is, but let me know in the comments. Again, I haven't played Barbarian in a long time, and I also haven't played a class that can remove a buff in a long time, but I think you can remove Undying Rage. Like, I'm almost positive you can. But in my opinion, I would make it so every class has a defensive, and like, it's, again, more rock, paper, scissors, where if there is a huge buff that you can remove the buff, but not all classes should have it. It should help lean into the class specializations where, you know, let's say a wizard can remove a debuff because it's a wizard, and they should do that. Maybe even make a monk allowed to do it because, again, monks are kind of struggling in PvP and just sort of in the game in general. Give them the ability of removing a debuff. I think that would help with this. I don't think that Undying Rage is broken. I think that it is a mechanic that people struggle to work around. Now, the one part of this that I will definitely agree on is that we are getting into situations with PvP where if there are more barbs on one side than the other, and especially his example or their example where there's none on the other side, then yeah, that gets into a bit of a problem. And I also have a suggestion for that I want to see how you guys feel about. But before we get into that suggestion, I have also experienced that where, like, right now I'm still in the Demon Hunter, and it doesn't feel like I can outmaneuver a barb and get away, generally speaking. So I don't feel like I'm dying a bunch, but they are definitely progressing the idols more. I think that that is a mechanic that they need, and I've seen other content creators speak on it too, and some feel very passionately one way or the other. I'm not incredibly passionate. I'm just giving my thoughts and opinions on it. So I would love for it to be a removable debuff if it isn't already, and I'm almost positive that it is, but then also have some other classes have the ability of doing it. And like I said, maybe a class like a monk where they're not super viable in the current meta or really anything at the moment. But with that also being said, about the topic of having certain classes out balancing the game. So I've also played games like League of Legends and other games similar where they have a ban and pick phase. Now, it does dramatically slow down the pace at which your games are played because you go through this non-trivial amount of time with a ban and pick. Now, I'm not saying we go fully into that, but I want to sort of spit the idea out to you guys as my beloved community and see what you guys think. But what if there was a, you queue in as a certain role? So either it's like a tank role, and then only certain classes can queue in that role. And then there's more of a DPS role, and then maybe that's it, right? Maybe it's just truly tanks and then DPS, and then maybe we do a support one as well. I struggle to see. I mean, Crusader obviously is like the most supportive class, and some other classes have like some supportive nature, but like obviously Crusader is like the most supportive. So I don't know if we would truly need like a tank, DPS, and support role, but maybe it's just tank and DPS, and that way, or maybe it's just melee and range. You know what I mean? So that way the teams can be more balanced in terms of their play style. Because like I have been in a situation where you get basically all range, so like Demon Hunter, Necros, and Wizards, and then the other team has like 3 barbs, and we're like, shit. You know what I mean? So I almost wonder if that would help balance it out, if there was a way of queuing in as a certain type. Now again, inevitably, I know one of the comments is going to be it's going to slow it down. I'm very aware of that. I'm just trying to think of different ways to fix it. Now, another way that I think could fix this issue is that it is to the point of the title, Undying Rage is dumb in objective-based PvP, specifically on the idols. We are, I think, widely accepted as a Diablo Immortal community is that we are long overdue for a new map or a new maybe game mode for PvP that is BGs. I think like maybe I've said this before and so many people agreed. I think a capture the flag game mode in Diablo Immortal would be insane. Make it different maps where there's like buildings that you can like, use cover and go in and out of, where if you're in a building, you can't be seen, but if you're out, like unless you get into the building, and then there's like some jump mechanics where like, oh wow, let's go in this building and heal real quick. Oh no, there's 2 people in there. Now I'm dead. Or there's a bar using Undying Rage. Oh no, I'm dead. But I think that would also help with some of this, or just a straight up Slayer. I think that there's some pros and cons with just having a straight up Slayer mode, because now you're going to see more classes shine and probably exacerbate the lack of balance. But again, maybe classes would just be better at slaying than they would at objective-based games. I think if there was more options where, maybe there's a quick vote, like there's 3 options, you do a quick vote, between the 2 teams to see which map or whatever game type you want to play. I think that would be awesome. For me, I get very tired of doing the same map, the same thing every time, and it's either offense or defense. Like when I played, again, Halo 3 a lot, there was Capture the Flag, there was King of the Hill, there was Slayer, there was Oddball. Like there were so many different game modes within ranked, and I always knew that every game I went into was going to be dramatically different, and then there were so many different maps. Now I'm not intentionally comparing an FPS to an action ARPG or an ARPG, but I do think there was a reason why that game did not get boring for me when it came to PvP, because it was always variably different, not just in terms of like my team is more stacked than the other, and or the only randomness was being offense or defense. So to me, that's where I think we should go as a community or as a game, is just add more variety to the PvP battlegrounds as a whole. And then, I mean, again, if you have a capture the flag game mode, I mean, sure, Undying Rage is going to be good for carrying that flag for a little bit, but as soon as it runs out, well, you're kind of a sitting duck, right? So you see where I'm going with this. But let's see some of the comments here as well I wanted to talk about. So all right, so someone said Crusader Conjuration. This is not true. Crusader can move idols when he is in coal. The rest were nerfed because during these forms you can't target them. You can still push Crusader away in the bubble, in theory Barb too, but of course with CC immunity it's harder, but that's why these 2 classes can still push idols. Generally that is correct, that the other ones, you're untargetable, which is why you can't do it, but with this one they're targetable. I think also they're both removable in terms of removable buffs. And then someone else said thank you for the actual answer. I personally have no problem with the Undying Rage. That's what makes barbs unique. Again, I tend to agree with this. What's really annoying is their Hammer of the Ancients damage. Devs need to adjust it, if only in PvP. There's no sense that a barb with 3k armor pen will be one-shotting someone above 4k armor. Yeah, I got one shot in that Demon Hunter video I did recently, and boy howdy, it was actually kind of funny because I wasn't expecting it. I know it existed, but I wasn't expecting it, and I just got obliterated, and I actually thought it was funny. But I could also see where it would be a whole lot less fun if it happens very consistently. if we're going to treat Undying and COL just like other immunities, then we might as well make it to where all other immunities can be dispelled. Like, see, that's my point. I think that all of them should be dispelled. I totally agree with that. I think that it is a buff that there should be a counter to. Again, rock, paper, scissors. Oh, you do more damage to me, I have an immunity. Oh, but then somebody else then can remove that immunity, and it causes more player decisions and ownership in their builds. So that's what I would lean into personally. They said the same thing. All right. Well said. The very same barbarian isn't oppressive in tower war because they can't stall the tower accumulating points, but in push/defend objectives, the map limited to with limited time, barb OP. Fair. Again, I think that this sort of leans into what I said about having a more balanced options in BGs where it's not just the same map, same game mode. That's what I think would fix this, because sure, barbs are really, really good at pushing the idol, but it's also because the first phase you completely blow through now. Like, we need to add health to that so that it actually matters and it's not just a skipped phase. And then same with the third phase, right? Like, as soon as you get to the point where you're defending the crystal, like, everyone says GG's as soon as that crystal's open, because you know inevitably the defense is going to lose that. The only real fight in BGs is over the idols, which is why it's exacerbated how intense and good the barbarian is. But if the other two phases actually mattered and weren't just getting blown over, maybe this would be less annoying because it's only good at one physical phase. Because again, if you get immunity, if you're using Undying Rage while I'm trying to damage one of the idols or like the guardians in the beginning, you go ahead, do your thing. I'm still damaging the guardian. You know what I mean? Like, if there was more health and there was a more battle on top of it, like, you're only impactful in one part of it. Either way, so that's my opinion. I'm not going to go into what other people have said about it, and in terms of content creators or anyone else, these are truly just my opinions. I know that there is a very, very passionate group on both sides of this, and again, in my opinion, I don't think it's broken. I think Undying Rage should not be removed. I do think it should be dispellable, and there should be some more skill-based reactions to that. But at the same time, I also think that the underlying issue here, if you ask why enough times, is that PvP is stale and only one of 3 phases in the current BGs is actually is the main BG. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. I hope to see you guys in a video soon. See you later. Bye.